Good morning from Yami Bay TV. Wishing you all well, sending loads of love to you as usual. Right, before I go into another topic this morning, first things first, yesterday was the first day of a 3-day open public parole hearing of the legendary Charlie Bronson. Right, I reiterate that if you're in a special unit, a prison within a prison, and you are deemed high risk, right, there's no way you can get out on a parole hearing. What did this tell me? It told me that the authorities are the only people that can reduce your risk. They reduced it to medium risk, which showed me instantly they are trying to get our Charlie out. Facts, right? So that he stands a chance of getting out on a parole board, because you couldn't if you was high risk. So, believing that he's done too much already, 48 years, we also find out, I looked at a couple of those TV channels yesterday that were reporting on first day's events of that parole hearing. And his son appeared. He's fallen out with his dad over the Channel 4 documentary, because he says now that he said 4 or 5 sentences after the last sentence, where Charlie was walking down the road and fighting and stabbing or whatever, in words to that effect, on that documentary, was the only bit edited. But he says, rightly so, as well, they didn't put the other 4 or 5 bits that throw that one sentence into complete doubt. Why did they do it? Oh God, it's beyond me. Are they doing him any favours? I get what you all mean, right? Yesterday, a psychologist supports re-release, right? So it's not no big news for me. I was expecting that. A legal expert also says that if he doesn't get out, he gets an open prison. But again, Charlie's risk is inside a prison environment, not outside. And if anything did go wrong in open prison conditions, would they have the facilities, which they won't have, to contain him? Because 70 or not, Charlie could pose still a problem in there, if you get what I mean. So the only solution would be to test him outside, where his crimes were armed robbery, and rightly so. Other recipients of some kind are saying that he's not a rapist and a killer, and he's so much over the tariff and that you've let others out. Everyone that leaves high security prison is a risk of some sort. If anything, Charlie's risk is lower than many of those men that have been released, if you get what I mean. So the worstest thing that can happen is he gets into an altercation and he gets recalled, which again will be down to Charlie, but he has to be tested outside. So I wholeheartedly believe that it will happen, like I told you already. Many are going to jump in and say, yeah, but he's not doing himself. By the way, he's answering the questions on the parole hearing. He was barking at his solicitors. Where are you going? But hold on a minute. He's got behaviour issues after 48 years. The parole board are quite astute at things like that. That's not the bit they're worried about, because Charlie's not pretending to be anything reformed and standing there and trying to articulate himself in a posh manner, like he's never going to do this and he's never going to do that. He's just being himself. So they know there's got to be difficulties with his behaviour issues because of the amount of time he spent being caged. It's fact. So that's not going to be at the forefront of their mind. His son says he will work with him, and it's important to remember, his son had a real bad childhood as well. I didn't at first, when the son thing came out with Charlie, I was a bit, thinking that might not be right. Is it some kind of game? But when his son talks about his mum and stepdad and that kind of stuff, and the conditions and the things that they might allegedly have done to him, it wouldn't make no sense in Charlie saying that he was his son. You think his son would be backing his mum, because they were together a short period of time, and would have had the boy who's up there now trying to do his best with what he's got to get his dad's out. It's not going to help him at all, with Channel 4 not putting everything he said in the way that he was trying to express it, in a different way. Only the Lord knows, right? You've got come on, man. You've got to be realistic about that. We've all got behaviour issues. The inquirer said to me the other day, right? He said, Yami, listen, you might not be a criminal anymore, but those behaviour issues are still apparent outside. Emotional immaturity, whatever way you look at it. The only difference is, I believe, as time goes on, you learn how to manage them. You ain't never going to learn how to manage them from an environment in there where all the trouble is, because that's just like, this is like a red rag to a bull with it. That's the way it's always been. Charlie Bronson versus the authorities. So there's nothing really going to be changed by him and behaviour issues. Charlie's very, very intelligent man, and he knows by pretending that won't do us no favours, because they will see right through that. Best to just be yourself and leave it up to them and God alone, right? So that's the first thing this morning as well. And also just sad as well to tell you that my friend that died last year, my big brother Shax, Wayne Phillips, that trial is now underway. I believe when that happened last year, that set me off on a bad run. Many of you would have spotted that as well. I was going to go down there, but I'm thinking it's going to reignite all those feelings from last year. But my heart goes out to his family, who have to go through it all again and bring up those not too distant memory wounds from last year, bringing them to the fore again. So we pray, you know, in some sort of way justice is done. We also send special love out to Willie Joyce and his beloved sister Maggie, who's going through a sad time herself, and we like to send love, light and prayers there also. So let me get ready to do another video after this one, sending you special love. My view is Charlie Bronson will get out. The only one that can mess it up this time round, and after that, if he doesn't, he's had it. And it's had it, like, it's going to be really inhumane, if you get what I mean. But sending special love to you. See you all in a minute.